String required.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Just us girls are here. All of the lovely ladies, the RealzTenisFanz feminist podcast.
Oh,
Though
yeah.
apparently we're supposed to be allegedly racist podcast.
Oh, shit. We've already started?
The allegedly
yeah.
racist podcast is back. Ladies and gentlemen, all our fans, I want to thank you all for listening for the past 30. This is our 30th podcast. We are fully grown. We can drink, we could smoke, we can say whatever the fuck we can continue to say whatever the fuck we want and enjoy ourselves. But before we go any further, let us introduce our lovely hosts. First, we have Andreen from Solely Tennis Travel.
Hello.
We can't take so many breaks. I was about to say Andreen from Realz Tennis Travel. Not so many breaks anymore. Not too long breaks. I lose my mind. Our foreign correspondent, Janina.
Hello. It's getting cold in Ohio, motherfuckers.
And our sexy island girl, Karen.
What's up, everybody?
You get a special toot, Karen, because you were absent last time around, and I know people were like, "Where's that island girl? The sexy Jamaican."
You were missed by
You
all.
were missed. You were
Thank
missed.
you.
You had Janina running about the WTA and Andreen calling them the wounded.
Yeah, I listened.
You know what?
I'm gonna have to check these two heifers.
Can we just acknowledge how, like, when Karen was away, weirdly enough, 75% of the podcast was about the WTA?
I know it. It's working. My hoodoo was working.
It was amazing. I was like, wait a minute. We did it.
Exactly. I thought we would have gone on about the men, but you know what?
Nothing was happening.
Exactly. Most of the men were not around.
Nothing ever happens with the men. That's the whole point.
Well, you know, it's so funny, especially in Asia. There was little to talk about.
I feel like there's still little to talk about because I was sleeping.
Okay.
Nobody was checking for that French national championship or that St. Petersburg tournament which Raonic won. Nobody was checking for that. The ladies were having it.
Because there was a tournament.
Yes, in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, she did.
Right? Funny, right?
That didn't help his confidence because I think he crashed out in the first round in Beijing.
Oh, well.
Anywho, ladies, so we are finally, I think in essence, we have, we in essence wrapped up the women tour. There are like 2 tournaments coming up in
Moscow
and someplace else. I want to say, I don't know. But it's happening in Luxembourg. Yes. And but you know, we have the race to Singapore. Seemingly, it's still on.
Can you believe it? It really is.
It's still on.
I mean, for me, it isn't a matter of it's still on. What is the real question is, are people who have confirmed, will they show up?
Well, that's the next side of it, really. I mean, it's only I think the only person that's fully confirmed of this moment is Aga, which is this number 5th seed.
She might just play herself.
Yeah.
And the rate she's going, she might just be competing against herself.
Yeah, she was all nice and taped up today, and she's already pulled out of whatever she was supposed to do next week, so she may not be there either.
Yeah, I mean,
I think she's saving herself because she doesn't need to.
Saving herself to lose every match as usual.
Oh, but you know what? You know what's so funny? I was thinking that, but with the group this year, maybe not.
Yeah.
She might just vulture it, you think?
You know what's sad?
I think it's possible.
One should not be able to vulture the year-end tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't.
It's so gonna happen, though. It
know
is.
what? Exactly. You know what? You play what is on the field in front of you, okay? Not what is supposed to be on paper. You play what
Right.
So, and that Singapore check is really big. It's big.
How big is it?
It's like over $1 million for sure, and it's not even 2 weeks' work.
Yeah,
nice.
And it starts in 5 days. In 5 days.
It starts in 5 days, and we don't even know who the hell's going to be there?
That's what the countdown said. I was like, are you sure? WTA?
No.
I saw a WTA countdown that said 5 days. I was like, are you sure? It said 5 days to go until the WTA finals. That's what's showing up on my timeline.
I'm counting
the
my
WTA.
calendar. No, it starts on the 25th. I don't know who's counting
It's
from
a
those
sad
people, but that's
state of
at least
affairs.
I
that's a
know,
big
right?
away.
I was like, why do they say 5 days on the WTA website? It says
Maybe
5
they're
days
counting
to
the
go.
pre-party. Maybe they're talking about people's arrival.
Well, you
Maybe.
know what? They're counting until Friday. I guess Friday's probably the official start, really, maybe,
Oh,
right?
probably, and they
Yeah.
announced who's actually going to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, before we go in, I mean, like, let's be quote unquote allegedly racist because we only talk about black people. Let's talk about the one black person that's around and just get that out of the way. Listen, I can't even deal with that bullshit nonsense that came out of Twilight recently, but you know what? Anyway, Venus made a push to get into Singapore qualify, outright. And I gotta say, I had my trepidation about this situation, but I have to give my girl a big up. She really pushed through. She really pushed herself. I mean, like JJ has always been a tough competitor against her. And I know Venus. She wasn't converted on the break points against in the semifinal. But I'm very proud of at 35, she's the number 2 American, and she's pushing through. And Venus is very close to being in the top 10. I mean, if she has a good result, she defends Auckland and gets another good result in Melbourne. Venus is back in the top 10. Come
Wow.
2016. She's
You young
back in the
bitches
top 10.
better watch out.
I'm telling you, these young girls, these ladies better check themselves. Like, what's going on with your life? I mean, like if Venus with Sjogren syndrome can play half a season and still get in the top 10, WTA need to check your life. You need to check your vitality, your young guns, because they're shooting blacks. They ain't doing shit out here. And Caroline Wozniacki, Venus is coming for your spot, girl.
What is going on with Caroline Wozniacki?
She probably has a boyfriend.
Oh,
No.
Lord.
I would like
Maybe
to
she has a girlfriend.
I would like to nominate Caroline Wozniacki too for a shut the fuck up award and sit in the back. Because come in August, I think it was, she complained that the WTA was forcing her to play. And I don't know if WTA has Stacey had some henchman with a gun to Caroline Wozniacki's head, but that girl has played every single week since Washington, D.C. Stanford, sorry. She's played every week since that. Every tournament at the WTA's found herself in a tournament every single week.
And
So I don't understand how. Exactly. She has. I don't think she's won three matches at a tournament since Stanford. She's lost the first one against Stanford. So I don't understand how you're telling me you're being forced to play, you're battling an injury, and yet you're showing up every single week and playing a tournament, traveling all over the place. I don't understand this. This is kind of confusing to me. And the same thing with Aga Radwanska. You complain that the season is too long, but you're showing up at every event. Really? At this point, you can stay home. There's no need. No one is checking for much of these points unless you made it into Beijing, Singapore. So I don't understand that. Karen, can you help us out with this situation?
I've not been watching, but much has gotten in the way of tennis. I don't know why that keeps happening, but I see these women complaining about the season, and then I see on my social media timeline that Radwanska was planning to play Tianjin, Linz, Beijing, Wuhan, everywhere they strung a net. She was planning on playing that tournament.
Telling you, she was ready for
Same thing
backyard
went for
open.
Wozniacki. Wozniacki, the same thing. She's been carrying an injury. She's been, she has not had good results, and I'm trying to think to myself, it has become a conundrum for these women, because one, they're saying that they're being forced by the WTA to play these events, or they will be fined, or two, they're being forced to play because they're injured. I can't imagine, and I'm sure the WTA insider will address this issue at some point. I can't imagine that the WTA is forcing its professionals to play while they're injured. There must be some way for players to opt out of tournaments if they're carrying an injury. And so when I see people like Radwanska complaining about the season being too long, and being forced to play with an injury, I roll my eyes because I'm trying to think. I'm not trying to be unsympathetic here, but I want to say, bitch, please, seriously, if you have an injury, what are you doing going all the way to muggy China, losing in the first round, then you come back to Europe, play 2 rounds, lose, go back to China again? I don't understand it. At what point does your health become priority? Look at Serena Williams. Serena Williams, 3 Grand Slam titles this year, 2 Premier mandatory titles this year. A win-loss record that is the envy of everybody this year. And she has decided to shut down her season. Not because she's seriously injured, not because she couldn't play, not because she was not in need of money, but because she had a broken heart. Maria Sharapova, number 2 ranked player in the world, decided to call it, I'd be surprised if Sharapova shows up in Singapore. I really would be. Because has she played any events?
She hasn't played anything.
She hasn't played much since Wimbledon.
No,
Simona Halep stop and start all season long. Azarenka has shut down her season. It's at some point in time, players have to take some responsibility for their actions, for their careers. This is your career. If I'm sick, okay, and I can't, no matter how serious the task is, I'm going to call in sick. If I can't get up out of my deathbed to go to work, my boss will understand. She is not going to be happy, but she will understand, because at the end of the day, it's better to have a healthy Karen than somebody who is falling apart at the desk.
But
and these women need to understand, at some point in time, you take the hit, you pay the fine, and you move on.
Well, I mean, I would say that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the fine is only associated to the premier events, the big events. I don't know if this is the right word. The premier event. I don't know whatever the premier.
I don't care whether it's for the international or the little challengers or whatever it is. At some point in time, these players have to think to themselves, if I play this tournament, I am going to aggravate an existing injury. I'm going to be fined 100. There must be an appeal process with the WTA.
But I don't think. But the thing about it is just that I believe for one of the few times Pam Shriver had something intelligent to say. She mentioned this earlier back, I think in August. She meant you're not being forced to play. And I think, okay, they have to show up at this. I don't think they would be fine if they have a legitimate injury, if they have a doctor's note per se. But I do know that the WTA has a whole bunch of bonus money tied up in your participation at events. If you show up at this many event, you get extra bonus, especially if you're a big name player. So if you're
I understand that. I know that.
So I don't think that why they're really showing up at these events has anything to do with injury per se, as opposed to.
So they're basically showing up for the bonus pool money at the end of the year.
That's what they're showing up for.
So then people need to stop empathizing and sympathizing and call it for what it is. It's a money grab.
It's a money grab.
I'm playing because I want to get my 10%. That's basically what that is.
It's pretty much what it is for her, and I suspect the same thing with Radwanska too. So I really want them to stop with it, because I'm so sick and tired of that talk. But I think in the other event, I have to say it's Muguruza, Garbine, thank you for giving Venus that title. And then showing up in Beijing and grabbing that premier mandatory, girl. That was really good for you. Happy for you and Sam Sumik. That was really impressive. It was the most emotion I've ever seen from Sam Sumik. And I've watched Sam Sumik a lot. Like, he never showed any emotion for Zavana Reva, or no emotion for
the only emotion he showed is Van Reva was frustration.
And he didn't even show any emotion for Azarenka for the most part, but he was so excited when Garbine won Beijing. So I was really happy to see.
He was probably starting to doubt himself by spending their time.
That's true.
He's being fired by a high-profile player such as,
Genie.
Who basically said that you're a crap coach.
That really sucked him, but I'm happy for him that he got his life together, and hopefully we see bigger and better things from Garbine next year. I mean, she got to change.
Are we going to segue into Miss Bouchard and her lawsuit?
Well, I think we should save that for later because that's a juicy. I mean, the best part of that.
Okay, no problem.
I just have to say, the best part of that lawsuit is not even the lawsuit itself; it's the reaction to the lawsuit. That's the drama. We haven't even got to trial yet, and I mean, like, shots have been fired. I mean, it's insane. But I mean, I have to say that I'm expecting hopefully Garbine change her bloody clothes. I hate her kit with a passion. And let me just say, 2015 has been some of the worst. As a matter of fact, I can't even think of a single good outfit I see came out of 2015. Not even one comes across my mind. I mean, perhaps if somebody, I mean, I'm going to say this, and Jesus help me. It was Rafa's Tommy Hilfiger underwear is the best kit I've seen in the entire
Jesus.
It's probably the best thing I've seen.
That does not qualify as a kit.
Well, that's just
Shut the hell up.
Because nobody else is wearing goddamn clothes. It's just fucking garbage. I've seen everybody showing up on wearing. It's just fucking bullshit.
We've already gone too far with the clothing. We're
Right.
going through matches.
Okay. Yes. So I'm very happy to see Garbine. Any of you ladies, any matches you watched and stood out, any interesting.
This is where I leave this conversation.
Caro, you were
I
trying to make
saw
that-
was Venus drubbing somebody 6-love 6-2,
Ooh,
which
that-
was a
that-
fantastic. Oh, and I saw her 6-1 quarterfinal win. So
About
yeah.
Cornet, right?
yeah,
double
oh yeah.
breast
There was somebody had a really nice gift.
Oh, I
And I
saw
want to
it.
give a shout out to that person because it was the most fantastic gift I've seen in a long time.
Garbine,
It
Mother
was-
Ruth,
it was. I think it was Garbine Mugger Ruthless. Shout out to you. That was a great gift of Venus Dragon Cornet. So shout out to you. That made my day. That made me bust out laughing in the office. So yes.
My gift game is on point. I gotta give you props, Mr. Mugger Rootless. I bow down. That wig grab across.
That was fantastic. I loved it.
It was lots of fun, for sure.
Yeah, it was a good match. I was happy in my spirit to see Venus playing well. And I think, as a matter of fact, honest to God, I think Venus is kind of like the surprise story out of the Asian swing, really. It's Venus.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's not even so much even the surprise story. It's just one of the better stories, the strongest
Right,
story
yeah,
that
exactly.
emerged. With everyone sort of faltering. And actually, I mean, I will admit to having listened to a couple of other fun podcasts, and there was this really interesting segment in that our new WTA insider pointed out that she had a conversation with Venus in an interview and asked Venus about her season, and actually asked Venus to talk about feeling as if maybe she had run into Serena at two of her strongest slams this year, and how did she feel about that? And so it was really interesting that she said that Venus really kind of admitted that she felt like, she had gotten some pretty tough draws, which, Venus doesn't usually talk about things like that. But she did say that she felt like, I'm looking across the other side of the draw and no one's doing anything else over there. And here I am playing some of the best tennis and I'm running into my sister.
The best player in the
we all
world.
felt that way, Venus. We all felt like that. Thank you for speaking truth.
Yeah, so I mean, I have to acknowledge that I think one of the things that the Asian swing kind of revealed is how well Venus had been playing. She
Right,
sort of
for
got
the year.
lost in the middle of the year, but she started out really well, got a bit lost clay season towards grass, and then really well in grass, and then a little bit dip in the summer, and then came out swinging again at the U.S. Open. And so it was kind of nice to see that rewarded. But I have just recently seen a quote from Venus that said that she has been playing with injuries all season, really, so she wouldn't mind if her season closed down now.
Okay.
Maybe it'd be best not to extend it for 3 more weeks or so.
Because
So,
I think she does need to. She does. I mean, if she's gonna come back again, I mean, and it's remarkable again at 35.
And next year is an Olympic year, so
exactly.
Yeah,
It's a
but you
good,
see-
yeah.
I mean,
What?
Me personally, and everyone is going on about the Olympics with the Williams sisters, but I think these ladies are over this shit at this point. I mean,
They're
they've been.
not,
No,
though.
they're never over the
No,
They're
they
Olympics.
not
want to
over the Olympics.
play.
They're
Because
never
Okay.
over the Olympics. That's their thing.
Okay, they've
Well,
been.
it's also explicitly a goal that they stated. It's explicitly Venus's goal. She
Yeah.
said
Okay.
that. She said she wanted to play the Olympics. So, and she's gonna try to figure out how to get her butt there. So, I mean, it's not something they're over.
I think it's gonna be on hard court, which is surprised. I thought Brazil would have made it clay.
Thank
But
God
I'm-
it's hard courts,
I
girl.
mean, listen, we don't have time to yawn through those matches. Come on.
Ain't nobody
It's
got
only
no
a-
time for no 10-hour matches.
Yeah, it's the Olympics. Let's get this
It's
done.
Olympics, yeah.
I think the last time,
schedule moving.
I think the last time it was clay was in Barcelona.
Well,
Yeah.
probably, of course. I mean, why
Listen,
wouldn't it be?
we need Fed, with his old ass self to try and get this buck thing checked off his bucket list.
You like some quick. You know what? Let's make a quick hard court and call it a day.
Make it glass.
It didn't work out so well last time.
Yeah, but it wasn't that fast.
No, did you say glass or grass?
Yes. It worked out quite nicely. I saw a very nice. I
Grass.
saw a very nice silver medal match. That was great.
No, I don't talk about those things. I kind of forgot that.
No.
Forgot that one. Anyway, but I mean, yes. So the women. I mean, I didn't see any women. Again, old ladies are stepping up. Y'all telling me JJ won a title? Y'all really telling me that?
Hey, I love to see JJ winning
JJ
in
has
all
been
her
winning-
dramatic
has been-
fashion.
She has been winning titles all season long
In China.
in China.
This is a third. I mean, Hong Kong is part of China. But this is a third. title
I don't know
year.
what. I don't know what happened because I didn't actually see the match, but I did see a pretty good gif out of the match where she says, "Come on, give me a break. It's the end of the year." And I was just like, "Only JJ. Only JJ."
She's the queen of the international event, and this is her third title, I think, right? This is the third one. So, congrats.
I read that my timeline this morning.
I'm
And
sorry.
And I was reading my timeline this morning, and somebody said that Kerber looked like she had run out of gas.
It's
in
true. Yeah,
Given her style of play, why not?
true. I thought she was. I was watching the match, and JJ really, got in on. They were playing moonball tennis. I almost jumped through my computer trying to kick somebody. I don't know what's going on here. I mean, Conchita Martinez left the Davis Cup team, Spain, and came back to play. Like, what's happening? And I thought she thought that she could run JJ ragged, but JJ started to step in the second set. Stop allowing because Kerber doesn't really isn't gonna hit you off the court.
No.
JJ came in a
You
little bit.
mean really? Seriously?
We know
JJ
how
got
you
very
feel about
aggressive.
Kerber.
I know. And every time I see Kerber now, I'm just hearing Karen in my head. That fucking long racket. Look at that. I can't even enjoy Kerber anymore. But JJ became more aggressive. Took the second set, and Kerber took a mental timeout. And then they say it was a medical timeout and got breadstick, and JJ was just like, "I'll take this title, thank you very much." And she got herself some extra money so she and Marco, her brother, could have a nice vacation.
Yeah, she needs to pay for that house in San Diego.
I'm telling you, well, there's no water over there, so she gotta find money somewhere. Well, that's. I mean, and the women, Pavlyuchenkova won Linz. And
Really?
won-
Pavlyuchenkova
Yeah.
won it? Oh my God! You have to give her a shout out. Oh yeah, she needs a claim for that, baby.
I mean, she was playing Annalisa Friedsam, so I think if Pavly couldn't get this title now, I don't think she'd ever get another one. I mean,
I'm very happy for Pavs. She's
So,
been playing great tennis all
yeah.
year. I'm very
Her
happy for
trophy
her.
picture was horrible. I'm just saying she should have chose a better outfit.
Oh God,
She looked a hot fucking mess.
she always looks a hot fucking mess.
And Radwanska picked up Tinjin, so she should probably go into the WTA finals with some confidence.
Or extra
You're right.
tape.
Or extra tape, whichever one is applied. But I mean, in Asia, really and truly, I mean, the ladies were, okay, but Andreen, you have a saying that says the ladies start off strong, and then the men finish strong. You know, the men end big and the women start big.
Isn't that how it always works, even in life?
Oh dear.
Nothing.
Dear. But oh no.
Crickets.
I know. So yeah, I mean, we started off the Asian swing talking about the women, and we ended up talking mostly about the men because eventually by the end, everything had sort of flamed out in terms of this massive W.
Did it ever?
This 27 race, you know, with the possibility, the 27 players that we had, it all sort of flamed out fairly quickly. I mean, there was a little bit of excitement for maybe about 3 days, and then and then Rod Wanska got in, so then you knew it was all over. But I'm just saying.
You know, my point was just like they were trying to have these 27 women can all win each, like all 27 win the title. You know what I mean? Like we can have 27.
It was great. It was great though.
And I'm just like, why? I guess it made for better story copy.
Oh, sure, it did. Because there was a real possibility, but once Venus sort of went away in it, I think a little bit of the legs sort of fell apart underneath.
Right.
I'm actually think having an oldie but goodie show up has actually been really nice for the tournament.
A lot of people that I didn't expect to, you know, typically don't really say much about the WTA on my timeline were all excited for Venus, and I was like, wow, this is. I mean, they were all looking for I mean, I guess this ought to need someone to kind of root for it. This is why I'm telling you, crowd support is so fickle. You know, people just kind of root sentimentally sometimes. You know what I mean?
Well, it's nostalgia. It was a nostalgia factor. Yeah, I mean, think about it. I mean, who's to say that Venus is going to be in this position at the end of next year? Exactly. So to be able to see her make a final push, it was a nice moment, you know. So
enjoy it.
But the men, could we say the men? Are we talking about a man? Are we just talking about a man now? Or are we just talking about a man? Because, you know, Roger. Let me just put this out, you know, Roger Federer. I mean, you know, I was mad. Let me just say, you know, I was mad when I saw you playing this. I don't even know the Spanish boy name because I hope to never see him again. I really don't. You know, every once in a while, he was cute. I mean, like, had he been playing Feliciano Lopez, I'd be like, Fifi, let me get that boy's number. But, you know, Roger Federer, you took a break after the US Open. Well deserved. You know, you played with Mercer and a few kids and whatever the case to me. But your mind wasn't, you didn't show up in Shanghai to defend your title at all. I remember this time last year, Andreen and I had a conversation, and Andreen quietly whispered, Federer's going to win Shanghai. Just quietly whispered it. And so said, so done. No?
I didn't say it this year.
She didn't say a thing. She didn't say a thing this year, and Federer didn't do a thing. Federer was playing. I watched this match, and I swear to you people, again, it was one of those moments where I wanted to jump to my computer screen and scream at Roger Federer, this ain't the left-handed Spaniard you fuck up against. It ain't this one. I don't know if you're getting, like, vertigo or, like, flashbacks and whatever. This Roberto Albert, he ain't the Rafa. What the fuck are you doing? Maybe you saw Rafa in the draw and you got nervous, and you decided I ain't showing up for Shanghai. Oh, my God. Federer was landing those balls shot in that fucking service box every single time in the third set. So he was on pressure on his serve, and you know he was like, and he wasn't even, not even on his serve per se. He wasn't making no impact on his return game. It was just like, I'm just gonna put the ball in play, just put the ball in play. And then the boy behind it was just like, you know what, shit. See this moment. Third round money is so much better than second round money. So. Well,
you know, I saw his match versus Tsonga, and I have to admit that I think that he was playing really good tennis. I mean,
he wasn't playing bad tennis at all.
He was playing really. From what I saw in his match with Tsonga, and his aggressive stance and his willingness to really go for his shots, I was like, okay, all right, I can see why this might have happened. And you know, it's as Fed says, it's always been an adjustment for him. He got a lucky escape last year. He didn't have the lucky escape this year. It's very much a big adjustment for him to come to Shanghai. He says the balls fly very differently there. They use different balls there. And it's always just challenging for him to adjust. The first match for him is bad out the gate. And he happened to find a player that was like, you know what?
I'm gonna take.
Listen, I'm gonna try to get some I beat Federer points.
Exactly. Because the thing what I liked about, let me take that back. The thing that I didn't like about this guy was that he wasn't giving Federer the opportunity to adjust his game. When he saw what Federer was capable of doing in the second set, he stepped up his game in the third set. And he was very much willing. He was like, you know what? He had the mindset, I am willing, I just need to hold serve. He was adamant about holding his serve. He's just like, if I get this to a tie break, I can win this thing. And I like how he was thinking long term, and because sometimes we push for them to think think about the first point, just think about the point in front of me. He was thinking about, no, I have to think long term, trying to get to the tie break. And then that opportunity came up for the break Federer, and he was just like, you know what, I'm taking this shit. Fuck this. I
was a little bit surprised. I mean, once I saw who showed up, I mean, Federer showed up in Shanghai with his physical trainer guy, and that's it. No service, no setting.
Well, maybe he didn't plan on staying.
Nothing. He didn't look like somebody who planned on staying for a week. So, once I saw that, I was like,
I kept thinking, just like, I hope Mark ain't gonna tell me she's pregnant come next year in March.
Well,
right?
I hope not. Because Federer, you cannot get any more kids, okay? You got 4. I know you got money. They need attention. They need attention, okay?
But it didn't really matter. It didn't really matter, because really, wasn't this really about Rafa's coming back party a little bit, his coming out party? He got a chance to get to the Beijing final. That was quite a big deal. And him getting over a couple of his nemesis. Fabio being apparently a Rafa nemesis that we should all care that he beat. And then getting his ass handed to him by Djokovic. But then he was managing himself in Shanghai quite well. So it's some weird way, Federer really wasn't the story. I mean, in an odd way, I didn't even think about Federer once he left. I was like,
exactly, because
that's because he left so damn early.
Well, he left so immediately.
There was nothing left to think about.
It immediately became clear that this was about Rafa's attempt to return.
To get his life together.
No, this was about Novak showing everybody, fuck you, I'm better than all of you, and I'm going to make you look stupid.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Because that's exactly what he did. Exactly. Novak went in that tournament, and he wiped everybody's ass with that court, and they all looked like idiots.
Do you know, I don't know if y'all watch martial arts movie, but when the Stark shows up, and he's like, he got the revenge, he got beat up in the first part of the movie, and then later on, he just like, I'm just fucking everybody up now. I'm just beating 10 men at one time. This was like Bruce Lee and Jet Li combined. We spoke about this last podcast where I said, the way in which Djokovic dealt with Nadal in Bangkok, it was the only thing on exhibition was the dominance of Djokovic. And maybe people could be like, oh, it was an exhibition, it don't matter. Well, guess what? I think Nadal lost one more game in the exhibition than he did in the toilet. He got two pieces and a biscuit. He got two pieces and a biscuit. It was a beatdown. Nadal was playing really well against Djokovic. He was hitting the ball crisply. He was all over the place. He was moving well. He took a mental timeout. Say he had an injury, and then showed back up and started running up the same goddamn way. So I don't know how that works, but you know what? His fans can tell me how much I'm a hater later on. But you know what? That was a mental timeout, because you know what happened? He was down love 30. And show us how Djokovic didn't give a fuck. He broke him anyway when he came back from that medical timeout. And he kept on pumping. 4 games Nadal lost won in that game. And Djokovic was all over that second serve. And it was the same thing, same kind of Djokovic showed up in Shanghai. Djokovic was beating the ATP's best.
It's like scary. I don't know. This is scary, Nole. Scary good the way he's playing right now. That fucking Serbian devil. I can't even. You know what? Hey, if you're a fan of his, enjoy it. It's a good time. I don't really care to watch it.
I have to say that prior to his dominance now, he bored me. And with his dominance, he has completely turned me off. it's just not fun to watch. It really isn't. And it's not fun to watch because he's so dominant, because I love a dominant athlete. I love Serena. I love Venus when she used to be dominant. I love Fed when he was dominant, and still love him now. What I can't stand, it's the automaton style of tennis. There's absolutely nothing thrilling, enthralling, captivating, or entertaining about that style of tennis. And as a result, he just bores me. If he's playing somebody who can counteract his style of tennis, it brings a little bit more
Punch.
what do you call it? A little bit more joie de vivre. But when both players are doing the same thing, ball over net, ball over net, ball over net, ball over net, it's just absolutely mind-numbingly boring. I wish he had a little bit more variety in his game. I really wish. I wish he was not so much of an automaton, because he is really boring the crap out of tennis fans, except for his fans in Serbia.
Except for his fans, and well, it's interesting because we were. I mean, I've read a couple analyses of the encounter with he and Rafa, and it was this notion that really that Djokovic has just surpassed Rafa. Like, the hope has been for Rafa, right? The hope for Rafa and Rafa's fans is that Rafa would get himself to where he had been. And the issue someone raised is does Rafa need to get to where he has been, where he was in, say, 2013, 2014? That would be nice, but the game has passed him by.
Exactly.
And so this idea but what's interesting is that Novak's style sort of came about to attack Rafa's style.
Exactly.
Right? And so now you have this. I mean, this is sort of what has come. This is what the Rafa dominance period wrought, right? Out of Fed's dominance, we got Rafa, and then out of Rafa's dominance, we ended up with Nole.
This is
the prize.
Well, I mean, these were the antidotes. They were the antidotes for each other. The antidote to Federer was Rafa, and then the antidote to Rafa was Nole, and now you have no antidote to Nole at all. We don't have anyone emerging to take on that style. Partially maybe because everyone who's emerging is like, this shit is boring as hell. I don't want to play tennis like that. I'd love to win like that, but I want to play like that.
And that's probably because the surprising thing with Nole is dominant is that there is nobody that is even close. There's no one even halfway. They're like, what, give this player a few more months, a year, 6 months, he will be there. Because I'm telling you, to me, the Rafa that I saw playing Nole was the Rafa of 2013. Unfortunately, that shit ain't gonna work.
It wasn't good enough.
It wasn't good enough.
It wasn't even close to being okay.
Exactly, because Rafa just couldn't. I mean, it's almost, we talk about Simona being a wall and whatever the case may be, like, you have this back wall. I mean, Nole is more than a back wall. It's just almost like he is a back wall with a punch.
He's a back wall with a hand.
Exactly. It's literally moving forward. And, I mean, some of the shots, I mean, I guess it looks really interesting, I guess, in highlight reel. But then for the fans, I mean, it's just like the people in the crowd, they get tired. They're like, oh, this isn't fun anymore because the other person clearly doesn't have a chance. I mean, I believe at one point Andy Murray's first second serve points won was 9%. I mean,
oh my God.
I thought literally I had to ask on Twitter, do you mean he won 9 points on serve, or do you mean it's 9%? Because I've never seen that number. I've never seen a single digit number.
That made Andy Murray look like a first-year junior on the damn floor. This is your number 2 player in the world. That is ridiculous. I can't wrap my mind around it.
Here's what was ridiculous. Then I realized it's actually percent. Because Nole won 100% on second serve. So I was just like, oh. So this isn't this is a real percentage. I mean, that was just like, really, tennis? Like, somebody fucked up the stats here. Like, this can't be right. And in the I believe it was Tonga. I mean, Nole is breaking these players at love.
Yeah.
Being up 40, love.
On a regular basis.
Why is that
regular
skinny
basis.
little bitch so strong?
I mean, like, he's strong, he's flexible. I mean, like, there is just absolutely no way.
Right.
He's like all over the court now. He's stronger, he's faster than him, and you know what's crazy? It's but the other problem too with a lot of the other guys is that they don't have much variety in their game. So Nole knows that there is nothing that they're going to do over there that's going to be remarkably different. They're not gonna mix anything up for me, so I don't even have to think about a surprise shot.
Yep.
So he
Well,
just
yeah,
has
I
to
mean,
be-
think about the person who gave Nole fits this summer. Think about the people who did that. It was the
A
players.
35-year-old father of four.
Fighter for, and also Doko Polov, and even Feliciano Lopez. It was people who there were three people who tried to change every ball that got to Nole. If you're gonna sit there and just batter the ball back to him, it's not gonna do anything. Even
You'll never
Bernard,
win that game.
but think about it. Even Bernard Tomic, right? I think what
Bernard
makes,
Tomic gave him problems. Yep.
yeah, and so
what's
but what's really interesting, it's kind of heartening because basically what that means to me, what that tells me is that maybe what will come out of this sort of dark Nole period, sorry Nole fans, is that we might end up with somebody with an interesting game. Do you know what I mean? It's like because really the reason why we ended up with Nole is because he had to emerge to face Rafa, and anyone who's ever succeeded against Rafa, I mean, I hate to say it, but most of the people who succeed against Rafa don't play interesting tennis.
They have to punch him hard.
I mean, and you're not getting Rafa with your variety. Exactly. You're not getting Rafa with anything interesting. You're just basically out-hitting him out there, right? And outlasting him, out-hitting him. So really, Novak emerging out of Rafa's time period makes a lot of sense to me, and being the answer to Rafa. So to me, I wonder and I hope that the answer to Nole might actually be someone really interesting. Might be maybe like a return to somebody who is doing, which when Federer is at his best against Nole, that's what he does. He changes up the ball. He does a lot of serve and volley. He's solid on his serve. He doesn't hang on the baseline and try to out-hit Nole.
Exactly.
Nobody's doing that. I
mean, nobody is doing that.
Remember years ago when I used to watch Rafa, because there was a period in time when Rafa's dominance was very similar to Nole. Nobody remembers it, but 2013 was this year, or 2010. Ugh. They were very similar, and the reality was, as soon as you went into a point with Rafa and you got over 6 or 7 rallies, you were done. Yep. Because you knew, you were like, you're you're rallying with Rafa. You don't want to do that. You can do this all day.
And that's what happened to Tsonga today.
Why?
Because
Tsonga should never rally with anyone.
Anyone.
Never.
Ever.
Because no backhand. Right? Exactly. Because as soon as you figure out a way to get that ball to his backhand, it's done for.
Bye.
Tsonga is like powerful serve, lead with that forehand, and whenever you can, rush to the net and get a nice volley.
Andre, point of order, let me tell you. Tsonga had a single digit second serve percentage 1-2.
Oh fuck.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean,
Hello.
but also maybe he's quite. I mean, if you think about it, Tsonga's second serve has always been slightly vulnerable anyway. Like I always feel like, I mean, like Murray, right? If you have a vulnerable second serve, it's death to Nole.
That is death.
His return game is so strong that if you mess up with your first serve and then you got to deal.
Look, it was like back in the day, when Venus and Serena were like, when they say a second serve, they're coming in, and you just know, shit, God, I put that ball over there. The men have that same feeling. I literally feel that fear coming off a Tsonga, like, fuck, I missed that first serve.
This one's gonna be up on it like white on rice.
I tell you, I know it's just, and you just see Nole over there on the other side, and then just watch them. It's like
ready to pounce like a cat or like an animal of some sort that we don't like.
Anywhere in the box, pick a spot, and I'm all over that shit.
Well, that's what he did to Federer. I mean, that's what he did in the U.S. Open, right? It's like Federer goes into a tournament like what? like 70%, 75% first serve, like 80%, 90%, 100% second serve. He emerges out of a match, and you're like, what the fuck happened to your serve, dude?
Because I think what Noel is making happening to a lot of the guys, all of the guys, is that he's putting this much pressure on you that you have no room for error. You can't fuck up.
Yeah.
You cannot fuck up at all. And you kind of have to play this interesting game because despite Federer's lack of success at the US Open, he was able to create so many chances for himself.
He had lots of chances.
He had lots of chances, so you kind of have to play that game and make that happen. And when you have those opportunities, I think that's what Federer said in the end in the press conference. Like, I had the chances, I just didn't convert.
And it's the same, you have to, I mean, people keep saying how, in order to play Nole, you have to play high-risk tennis. No, in order to play Nole, you have to play really aggressive tennis. But you have to be fully and 100% committed to that.
It doesn't mean pounding the ball from the baseline. Because
no, not grind. I'm not talking about grinding tennis.
I'm looking at the stats from that Novak-Tsonga match. Oh my God.
Yeah, Tsonga won. Tsonga only held serve once in the first set. In the second set, he got really good. But I believe the game when he got broken, he was up 40-love. I'm almost sure of that. When he got broken in the second, he was up 40-love. Because once he missed that first serve, the very first, after he was up 40-love, it became very problematic for him. And then he started to get...
Okay, listen. In set 1, Tsonga's second serve points won. 11%. He was 1 for 9. In the second set, it was 19%. He was 3 for 16.
Yeah.
But here's the killer.
I mean, there's more?
Oh, there's more. On total return points won in the second set, 5%.
I'm telling you.
I think the weird thing is, like, these people are making Djokovic seem like he's got this bomb of a serve. I mean, and he doesn't, right? Djokovic has, like, probably a good, well-placed serve. But it's not a particularly powerful serve. But then again, Tsonga is not known for his return game either.
Oh my God, 5%. 5%? Seriously?
Match.
Step on fucking
points.
Yeah,
Well, you got 7 points on Djokovic's serve through the whole match?
Yes, 17.
There's no reason for that to happen.
Karen,
yes?
Karen, wait. Those 7 points that he won on Djokovic serve, imagine that he broke Djokovic once. So,
wow.
That's a game. That's a game.
It's just so stupid.
My God.
It's so dumb.
And he won 4 points on his second serve.
Yeah.
Good God.
It was, I mean, for him, I think, and that's the thing, Tsonga got really motivated in the beginning of the second set, but the task was too hard. It was too much pressure. It was too much.
He was saving break points, though.
He was
not enough.
Right.
Oh, wait,
Realz,
Realz, you gave Murray too much credit. He only got 8% of his total return points in set 1.
I was
You said 9.
Second serve.
Oh, okay. That was only
the golden age of tennis.
I mean, I swear to God, I had to do that. I was like, are we right? They gotta, I mean, Murray won 9 points at second serve. Because
it was only 8%. It was 1 for 13 in the
well,
first set.
I mean, I think we get the idea. I think we get the idea about what happens now. So, I mean, I think this probably makes a good time to segue into this topic, right? Because Karen said it. Karen asked, "Is this a golden era?"
Well,
okay, I mean, this. You know, I saw journalists tweet that they long for the days when the big four were competing against each other. I guess they're, all of a sudden, Djokovic manhandling Murray, Federer,
and Nadal.
Makes that, it seems like we're no longer living in the age of the big four. How easy this change a narrative on men's tennis.
You know what?
Well, I mean, I think there's a reasonable question. I mean, I know people are going to hate that I make this point. and everybody says, la, 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 la. But, I mean, it's a real transition time, and it's a fortunate period that while Nole's strongest competitors, Nole's strongest competitors, if you think about the Big Four, and this is what happens when you have a tour with the Big Four, right? Which we've always said that the Big Four steals all the points, making the rest of the top 10 a little bit suspect. So what happens is when you have a Big Four and 3 of the Big Four are struggling, for whatever reason, one is getting older, another one has got psychological problems, which is what people say is going on with Nadal, that it's mental. And then you have someone like Murray who still has never really been the same after his back surgery. You really basically see that there's no one that is going to be able to rise to the occasion against Novak. And you know what? The same thing would be happening if it was any one of the other 4. If Murray was at the very top of his game and the other guys were struggling, that would be potentially the same issue as well. And it would be the same thing if it was Rafa, which is what happened in 2013 with Rafa. And it's what happened, so it's like when you have a tour that's really got 4 people that are on par with each other on some level, or were on par with each other, and then one of them rises to the top and the others falter, suddenly you realize that the top 20, not so special. And all it takes is one deep run from one of them, one of the other top guys, to do something, which is what happened with Stan. And inconsistent. You know what I mean?
Let me just to add to your point here. Tsonga has crept into the top 10.
Sure.
I don't know how. Because I was like,
well, ask yourself the question why Berdych is even in the top 8.
Right.
I mean, if you think about there are 4 guys who steal all the points, generally. All the points. And
this year it's only been one guy.
This year it's only been one guy.
One guy. Nole is at 17,000 points.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Next person is at 8,000 points, if I'm not mistaken, which is Murray. I think Nole would be number 1 until June of next year, probably.
March. Well, maybe March. But, this is what happens.
Granted, he lose everything all the way down.
Even if he did. But, this is the thing that we've always asked ourselves. Is like, we recognize, look, remember, people started pitching Grigor Dimitrov 2 years ago. Because that's when his generation was supposed to emerge. The top 2 or 3 from that particular generation was supposed to emerge as challengers. We had a few people falter from the generation before. Delpo faltered. He was supposed to rise to the occasion. We saw what it was like when Delpo was on and could kick both Rafa and Fed's ass. He never emerged, which gave Fed and Rafa a little bit more time to clean house until Nole emerged. And now you're looking around going, who was that? Who are those guys that
ain't K.
It ain't K. It's not K. I hate to say it, but K is like Stan right now, or how Stan used to be. No, I mean, all possibilities and nothing.
Let me just say this, okay? And I'm talking about my former number 3. How the fuck Benoit Paire beating you in Tokyo K? I mean, I could get it. He beat you in US Open. I could deal with that, but in your home country where you're making your money, you let Benoit Paire drag you?
You know
Benoit Paire was having an injury?
Listen, the thing that we know about, the thing that has become very clear to me about K, which is very, very much the same as Simona, is if you want to, you can take a match from those 2. No, you know what I mean?
That's like speaking extremely obvious.
But like, because they get cautious. You think some people, when they get nervous or when they're expected to win,
they have no killer instinct.
Their killer instinct, like that is what has happened. Like when we look, it's what happened at the US Open with Simona. You're sitting here going, Simona, this is your match. Snatch that match. Snatch this match. And then Flavia's up in here acting like, hey bitch, I'm taking this thing to town.
I've always been here.
I'm taking, and then you realize, Simona, you would have faced Vinci in this final, girl.
Exactly. And not only that too, you faced Serena on a hard court in Miami, and you played her tough.
Yes, but
Hey.
so this is the theme. I've been pairing those two mentally in my mind, and it's like what happened to Kay at the French Open when Tsonga was like, "You don't want this? I'm snatching this." Kay was perfectly in position to win his match against Benoit Paire in straight sets, and Paire just decided. You could see the shift. He's like, "Maybe I'm going to try to win this."
Exactly.
I'm a little bit injured, but let me try to go for some wild shots. And it was ridiculous. It was like Kay got tight, he got frustrated, he had so many breakpoint choices, so many, and they all went bye-bye. And then he started doing the Murray thing, which is slapping his leg or not moving. It's like, okay, Kay. But I just remember looking at both of them. I was like, you know what? This feeling I'm getting watching you two is the feeling I got when I was watching Simona. And I was like, why are you frozen? You are
you know, like I do get that feeling because I watch a lot of Simone at the US Open, and she's being a poly, and I'm just like, girl, we need you to rev up the bitch.
Yeah, she
just doesn't have that. She just doesn't have that killer instinct, you know. And as much as she tries, but she just doesn't have it.
But you see, this is what separates the sheep from the goat in essence, okay? It is what this thing, because again, you're not gonna go out there feeling. It's why when Kim Clijsters came back, she came back as a ruthless person. I mean,
she was like, listen,
exactly.
I'm taking
because Justine was dragging her all the time, and then when she came back, she was just like, you know what? I am back here, and I'm not gonna let you walk over me. If you wanna win this match, you have to literally pull this match out of my hand, and I'm going to do and that's what you need to win, because there's gonna be so many times when you're gonna be the great champions always face on the brink of defeat.
It's the same thing that happened with Wozniacki last year after her breakup. She got that killer instinct that she just wanted to win and win and win and win and win, and she just every ball she hit was Rory's head. This year she's in a better place, you know, and it's, you know, a friend. We had some attorneys over from New York a couple of weeks ago when I wasn't on the podcast, and one of them is a really good. They're huge all the time and everything, and they go to the French Open and all that. And one of them said to me, "You know, Serena is going to be back next year, right? She's going to win it all next year. She's going to be hungrier than ever. She knows now what it's going to take for her to do that calendar, to do it next year." So it's that killer instinct that is ingrained in some players that needs to come. You know who has it? Garbine Muguruza has it.
Yes,
she has
it. Listen, they don't call her ruthless for nothing.
Exactly. She is getting it there.
She really has that, and as
getting it, she has it. It's not getting it. She's got to perfect her game.
She has it.
She has it. That naked hunger.
Probably her mental game to finish matches is just not there yet. She gets tentative and scared. But that killer instinct, we saw it at Wimbledon. We saw it at the French Open last year when she took down Serena. She has that killer instinct.
Yeah, Kay don't got it. Kay and Simona, their talent gets them very far. And they should win more matches than they actually end up doing.
Because there is just so much
because their talent, because their movement's so good and they do things so well and they hit the ball so nicely. But when that point comes, when you're like, listen, when you feel the other player across the net give you that energy, like, listen, I'm about to come for you. You need to push through.
Shut them down.
Shut that shit down.
Exactly. You need to You see, like I'm telling you. That's why I keep saying. We talk about this all the time. You win matches. Not by every point, but you win matches on the court when you step onto the court. Show that other person, I am here and beating you. That certain look. You have to get that rev up. You have to tell yourself, because otherwise, you're gonna be great. Your body cannot sustain trying to win every point legitimately. I'm just sorry. Winning it point by
Well, I mean, I wonder.
and that's not to cheat, but I mean like
Yeah,
by
I
winning
know.
every point honestly, I should say. It's
I
not
wonder if this is unintentionally made the point because I've been seeing. Listen, I would like to raise this question for you all because I've seen quite a few very knowledgeable pundits and tennis writers frame the problem that Rafa has been having as a mental one.
You're not gonna give me the side eye right there already.
A mental issue. This is what, because listen, you know me. I think Rafa's achievements are always slightly fantastical. Like I say, I always expect Rafa to start flying any minute in his matches. But they're just too fantastic. Miracles are happening, everything. But, the interesting thing is Rafa does not have an injury this year. For the first time on tour, he does not have an injury, and he's actually around for the entire tour.
Yeah, exactly.
So the problem with Rafa is mental.
And he played a full Asian swing.
He played a full calendar. So we've just made this whole case about champion mindset. So is that what's happened to Rafa? Has Rafa lost his champion?
No, I don't think so. I just think there's a bigger killer in the pond. There just is a bigger one there. Just what it is.
But that doesn't mean that he shouldn't still be able to beat other people.
Well, I mean, but the other thing too is that he lost whatever he was, okay. See, do y'all really want us to make money? I guess to go somewhere because you're gonna get us uncharted territory. My own estimate is that Rafa, whatever Rafa has not been doing this year, has fucked around and he lost some street creds. He lost some street creds.
Street cred?
I mean, it's what it is. I mean, when you are showing yourself to be
vulnerable to Fabio.
Exactly. It's just like, wait, Fonini, who is out there being rude and silly and struggling? No. If Fonini could beat him, and Fonini is beating him with sexy tennis too. I mean, like, you watch any Fonini match against Rafa, Fonini is just striking the ball. He's just like
standing there and just hitting it.
Exactly. Fonini just like, exactly. Wanna win this? Go for this ball. Fonini is when Fonini has the mental capacity and the focus to dictate play against Nadal, Fonini came back. I mean, let's be 100 here.
Yeah, I know.
You have lost creds when you let Fonini up from a 2 sets and a break at US Open.
That's pretty bad.
Well,
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily mentality. I think the other players show up and just like, you know what? It's time, just like how Albert showed up, like, I'm going to get some beat Federer points today. I'm going to get some beat Rafa points today. And what's even better, nobody can say he's injured. And I beat him.
I'm in the boat that Rafa has some mental struggles. I think so because he is a confidence player. And look where he is this last couple weeks after he's managed to string together some wins. He's been playing better.
Yeah, number 5 in the world. Again.
I don't know.
Small miracles.
Rafa's number 5 in the world. For all of Rafa's struggles this year, he's only number 5 in the world. He didn't fall out of the top 10.
But this is what happens. But this is what happens when you are the best of the best. Because, there are hundreds, thousands of players out there that would kill to be number 5 in the world. But because it's Rafa, number 5 doesn't sound so great. Because it's true. I mean, let's be honest. Even if you look at Federer, he slips to number 3 this week, and you go, God, really? You're 3? I mean, but who wouldn't want to be 3 in the world?
I know.
When you are always such a high-level top player for so long, and you've been dominant for so long, when you start to slip, it just feels more dramatic than when, say, Berdych falls out of the top 10. Or something like that.
Will he ever, though? Will he ever? Will Berdych?
But you see, my thing is
well, no, because the top 10 is so fucking weak. But we are not allowed to say that.
There goes our sponsorship. There goes our money. We can only say that about the WTA, okay? I remember someone.
Well, I think, listen, this is a good time to bring our private conversation from earlier out into the public about what dominance really looks like. And is Nole's dominance...
Did I hear your paper rattling? Are you going to go for your notes?
I'm going, man. I am all in. I am in. Because... Watch out. Watch out. I will tell you.
Karen, I can't believe you clock up for the paper rustling. Karen,
I know, right? Wait, listen. I've got lots, though.
Paper cracking and everything.
Let's just share what we talked about. The conversation was... Is Novak's dominance now bigger, better, different than what Federer did in like 2006, or what Serena has done this year, or in 2013? So, I went for the numbers because I'm thinking that Novak's is bigger, better, and nobody can fucking touch him. But when you look at the numbers, it's not. It's really not. And I'm surprised. But...
Really? Tell us the numbers.
The numbers. Okay, so Federer's best year throughout his career up until now was 2006.
91-5, right? I think it is.
He was 92-5. His percentage of winning for the year was 94.84%.
Wow.
Okay, he had 12 titles, 3 of which were Grand Slam titles, and he lost the French in the final to Rafa. Okay?
How old was he?
That was 2006. This is 2015, so he was what, 24?
24, okay.
Or 23?
25.
25, okay.
Okay, so Novak... not having this year been completed, however, so we'll look at 2011 because that was the year that he
can only win 10 more matches.
Okay, so he can't touch that then.
No,
but
he has to win. If he win, let's say he wins Paris and he wins the year-end championship. That's what 5 matches, right? In each, right?
Yeah.
So right now, Novak is 73-5.
Yeah, he still can't beat it.
His winning percentage right now is 93.59%. He has 9 titles so far, 3 Grand Slams, but he lost his French Open too, whatever. But his year that's complete, that we really can look at the whole thing, is 2011, when he kicked everybody's ass and was taking names like he is now, but he played a lot less than Federer played when Federer had his awesome year in 2006. In 2011, Nole was 70-6. However, he only had 10 titles. 3 Grand Slams. He lost the semifinal in Paris to Federer in the semifinal, but 2 of his losses were due to retirement. So...
that don't happen much anymore, right, people?
No, it doesn't. But my thinking when we were having this conversation without looking at the numbers was Novak is more dominant than Federer was then, because I feel like Federer had more close matches, and I didn't look these numbers up. This is just what I remember. I just feel like he was always just out of reach and just that much better than everybody. And yes, he had many matches where he made people look like Nole made Andy look. He had tons of them. It happened. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But in my mind, I was just thinking that Federer there were more matches that were close where you thought he just did enough to get lucky enough to win on the big points, where I feel like Novak really is just wiping everybody like a dirty rag and throwing them aside. But numbers-wise, Federer was the more dominant player. But we talked about... Go ahead.
No, I think one of the things that is coming up with the Nole narrative this time around, it's I don't want to use this, I want to say the quality of the wins, is that Nole has won 5 Master Series. And is it 5, I'm sure? 5? 5, is it 5? He won Indian Wells, Miami, Monte Carlo, Rome.
Yeah, it's 5.
It's 5, yeah, 5. Yeah, and and the three majors, and so
Right.
you mentioned 9 titles,
Mm-hmm.
and where was another? Where did he win that other title?
Yeah, that was the thing. The thing is that the titles are higher ranked in
The
terms of
titles are higher
numbers.
ranked, and the
In terms
points.
of numbers
I
and
think that's what it
points.
is. Federer plays a lot of 250s and 500 here and there, and so Nolan shows up here for the big tournament. But I think we had this conversation, Andre, and we mentioned that Masters 1000s are not the same as it used to be back then.
They
they're
used to be
not.
best of 5
It
in
used to
the
be like the
final.
final.
Yeah.
They
It's
Yeah.
used
not
to
the
be
same.
best of 5. A lot of
Yeah.
them were different surfaces
Yep.
than they
Real
are
surface
now.
And
differences.
people
They
put
were
that.
real differences.
They were
Yeah,
very
they were real different. It wasn't
and,
like
and there were a lot more. I'm gonna say people could get mad. There were a lot more competitive men on
Yeah.
yeah.
the field. There were a lot
Well,
more.
I mean, see, the thing, see, for me, I'm going to let you continue at your point, Janina, but I think one of the things that Nole
Uh-oh.
We can't hear you.
era,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
why his era is sort of seen as some sort of unique outlier is really because Nole is making his name on top of people who were established champions. Do you know what I mean? So it's one thing to say, well, Fed and Rafa were beating up other competitors who were maybe of the same age range and the potential skill set. It's quite another to say, listen, I'm owning Federer and I'm owning Rafa. You know what I mean? Like, so I
Right.
think in some ways his legacy gets a bump because of who he is sharing, who
Yes.
he is
Right.
dominating.
That makes
And
sense. I can see
yeah,
that.
you know what I mean? Then but what's interesting, but the only reason why that has any kind of weight, really, is that you have to assume the same age as Nole. You have to assume that Rafa Nadal is 100% fit and raring to go on the tour, right? That's what you kind of have to assume. But the reality is he is playing someone who is very much older than he is, and he's also playing someone who is not at the top of their game, which is
Mhm.
Rafa. So you're kind of getting a champion and you're dominating champions, established champions, but you're not dominating established champions who are the people that they had been.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
so that has to kind of be taken with a grain of salt. But nobody
True.
wants to do that. They're just like,
No.
no. I'm dominating Rafa. And I'm like, well, Rafa's losing to Fabio Fognini.
But you know
Exactly.
what? When I was looking up all of this, Rafa had his best year. I don't remember.
2013.
2010.
2010
2013.
and 2013 probably were his really good years.
However, Rafa's great. I know he is. I am not slighting him or anything, but we have to keep it real. The majority of Rafa's greatness has come on one surface.
Sure. And, yeah,
So,
and, yeah,
so
that's-
he is not the same caliber player of Federer, of Djokovic. He's just not. He is awesome at what he does, and yes, he has managed to get his titles at Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. He's done all that, but the dominance, if you keep it real, it's on clay.
Well,
It's
that's
totally loaded.
what's really interesting is that in a weird way, Djokovic's emergence has really sort of cast a really odd light on how we had seen these two previous champions.
Right.
And then it's also challenging the GOAT narrative because really what you're having to see people do is actually throw the GOAT narrative away because they actually don't enjoy Nole for some weird reason. So they're like, hey, we thought we had a GOAT, but it looks like Nole's in the lead, so we're going to stop with that now.
But you know what? But he's really not. That's just it.
I know. But that's what everybody's suddenly fearful of. Like, could Nole actually be the one to emerge as the ultimate GOAT?
Well, the other thing is that
possibly.
what I like about this situation is that what I find interesting about the top 3 and Andy Murray.
Well, Andy, I can't with you.
But I like that you call it Andy Murray because that's really what it is.
It is what it is.
Andy Murray.
I mean, what I find interesting about the men tour, and unfortunately, I don't like is just 4 people winning all the shit. It's boring now. It's been going on for far too fucking long.
Exactly. Yeah.
People, it was cute for a minute, and you're happy when your fave win. But let us look at the fucking legacy people. Let me just give you some numbers. There has been nobody other than Rafa, Raja, Djokovic, and Murray to have more than one Master Series title. Nobody else. Bodic got one. Ferrer got one. Tsonga has one.
That's it.
That's it. Delpo don't even have one. I don't even think I think Delpo made a final.
No, he didn't have one. He doesn't have it. Well, which is what's sad because
that's fucking crazy,
Karen,
people.
It's like Karen has always been said. It's like Karen has always said. In a weird way, Novak Djokovic has actually split the ATP wide open, making you realize, and I mean, I know this would be very disheartening for him and his fans, making you possibly question the notion of a golden era.
Right.
There is a golden era. But you see, I was just about to opine on the fact that, you know, when Serena was dominating this summer,
right,
and, you know, winning all 3 Grand Slams, there were whispers about this being a weak era of women's tennis,
right,
and, you know, looking at the fact that she's been presiding over a weak era. But then on the ATP side, you know, you have this whole narrative about, you know, the golden age of tennis, not realizing that the man who is testing the world's #1 is 34 years old with an aching back, you know. But they put the fact that he's won 17 Grand Slams as part of the narrative. They put Andy Murray 2 Grand Slams, Stan Wawrinka 2 Grand Slams. So that's the narrative, and they miss out on the fact that during the time that Serena has been dominant, you have Maria Sharapova, you have Kim Clijsters, you have Justine Henin, you have Venus Williams, you have, and take apart all those other past champions. You have so many other women who have beaten Serena at a Grand Slam. You have Sam Stosur, you have Francesca Schiavone, you have so many women who have taken advantage of the openness of a draw to make their mark.
Let's talk about Serena a minute.
Let's talk about it.
Let's do it, because we also talked privately about, you know, is Serena's dominance comparable to any of the men? And you know what? She's been more dominant than all of them, percentage-wise.
Yep.
Her best year was 2013. She won 95.1% of her matches. She went 78-4. But
how many titles?
She had 11 titles, only 2 of which were Grand Slams. Not that I don't want to say only, but, you know, she did have 11. This year, and this is wild because given the fact that she's not even finishing the year, she won 94.64% of her matches and only lost 3. She went 53-3. But here's the thing about Serena that really surprised me, because I honestly had no idea. There is only one player. Well, no, that's not true. There's only one. The head-to-head, the people who have a head-to-head win versus Serena, 7 of them won and have a winning record against her because they only played once. Ever. Okay? So, but the only person to actually have a winning head-to-head against her is Arantxa Sanchez Vicario. And how long ago was that? And the head-to-head was 4-3.
Yeah.
No, wait, no, I'm wrong. There was, before somebody comes for me, there was Sybil Bammer. She was 2-0 against Serena. But the rest of the field, and then even more impressive as far as Serena, because I mean, you look at Federer and Nole. They're 21-21, right?
Yeah.
Nole, Rafa are 22-23. Serena, there's only a handful of people who have beaten her more than 4 times. It's Venus, Capriati, Hingis, Henin, and Dementieva. Who's still there? Venus.
Well, see, the thing is, though,
it's crazy.
That's why I don't compare the tours. Because the nature of the competition is very different. Now, when
it's different.
But when I say that, everybody goes, "Are you saying it's better or worse?" No, it's totally different.
It's just different.
The men's tour has always been defined by rivalries. That is what has made that is why they can characterize the men's tour as a golden era, is because of the rivalries. It's because you can have somebody meeting you 40 times. Who has Serena played 40 times?
Exactly.
I mean,
right.
That does not happen.
No, it doesn't happen.
Let me tell you something.
That's the difference in the tour. That's just the difference of the tour.
But just look at how impressive it is that she, like...
I mean, it is and it isn't, because it's different. You can't compare them.
No, without comparing, without just looking at her career, her and only her, look at how impressive it is that, like, no active player has a winning head-to-head against.
But it's the same thing with Rafa. A lot of people don't have winning head-to-heads against him either. But the thing is, that's interesting is that if you look at the tours, the nature of meeting a player constantly in the final, it's very different. That's what makes it more different because women, Serena is mostly getting to the final, but she's mostly encountering different people
all the time. Yeah.
Right. Look for sure in some ways,
which actually speaks to the depth of the tour.
Well, it also speaks to the fact that inconsistency.
But see, it doesn't even have to speak to any of that. You could decide what you want it to speak for. You could say it speaks to the fact that the tour has enough people to get to a slam and get slaughtered by Serena, or you could talk about the fact that, you know what I mean? It's like, I think that's why the difference between the tours has always been so stark.
After Serena, it's an even game. Everybody can scramble.
Everybody can. Yeah. Then it's a free for all. But you know what I mean? I mean, she's heads and tails above the rest of the tour, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to define the tour as weak. It just means that you have to define the tour as that's the nature of that tour. But when you're looking at the men's tour and what has historically been the nature of the tour, what you have to say is that in the Novak era, it's just very different now. It's a different kind of tour. Novak is not running back and forth or kept back by a rival. Theoretically, Andy Murray was supposed to emerge and do that thing that had been consistently done on that tour, which is that one man kept two guys kept each other in check. The rest of the guys, fall by the wayside, as you will.
Because the problem with the guys was that they had to be three of them in order to get anywhere.
Yeah. But that's not the case anymore.
Exactly. They were set up in... I think this is another thing we can talk about too, but we don't want to spend much time. Is that the fact that the way in which, back in the day when things were really hot and heavy, was that the top, was the big three and Andy Murray were the top 4 seeds all the time in some form of variation.
Yeah.
So they were constantly clashing. So you had to, if you wanted to break into there somehow, you have to hope that one of them lose early, upset early, then you beat one of them along the way and hope that, you can only have to beat 2. But chances are you have to beat 3. 1 in the quarters, 1 in the semis, and if you get lucky to get into the finals, you're fucking done because you have to beat another big guy.
Well, and what's interesting is that it's interesting because for the women's tour, there was a period in time when the women's tour was defined by rivalries. And that was probably the last time that probably really happened on a consistent basis was probably Chrissy and Martina, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. I mean, or maybe Monica and Steffi. But beyond that period, there was like a cadre of women that were all just very strong. That was like the Lindsay, the Sharapova, the Hindu.
Right.
There was a period.
There was a time when there was the American versus the Belgians and the American versus. But it never lasted.
Yeah, there were like 7 women who were all very, very strong, and you could meet them at any different time, and you can imagine them winning. And that was like sexy. That was like, what is it, the 90s? When the women were commanding like television time and money, and the tour was like freaking a riot. It was a rage. Everybody's like, oh my God, who's going to emerge at the top? And that was when Venus was at the height of her powers. So she was slaughtering that tour. Joseph, you know what I mean? That was that. And so for a while, but what you really have had is one really dominant champion and consistent champion on the women's tour.
For so long.
For a very, very long time. She's basically outlast those 7.
Yes.
Right.
That's really what happened. And if you could imagine that happening on the men's tour, it would have been Federer outlasting every single person and never having a Djokovic emerge. Never having, or at least having Djokovic emerge in 2001 and never come back. Because if you think about Djokovic and Vika, that's comparable to what happened. You could have imagined that Vika had Vika stayed healthy and sort of gone toe-to-toe with Serena post-2011, 2012, you could have imagined this notion that you'll have the rivalry that everybody kept saying the tour needed. But the tour has just been very different for a long time. Or like Petra Kvitova, which everyone expected to emerge and provide this other, consistent rivalry. But that has not been the nature of the WTA for the last 5 to 6 years. But we've been trying to push that narrative onto that tour, and that's not the tour.
Yeah, because I get your point, because it could be that the ATP, they sell they're made up of rivalries, while the women's tour is made up of dominance.
Yeah, it's made up of different people who can emerge at every moment, which is why when Serena leaves a tournament, it's like a fucking scavenger hunt.
Vultures moving in, girl.
You know what I mean? It's like people are like, oh my god, look, let's grab it.
If Sharapova isn't there, then it's not drag out. People start playing their best tennis.
Well, and I don't mind it. My problem has always been that people have needed to say one tour manner is better. I just think they're really different. They're just
it's not better or worse. It's different. Different is okay.
Because the ATP is about to see what it looks like, and now they're gonna have look at how the narrative is gonna change, Karen. Look at the ATP is gonna have one guy that's better than everybody, and how are they gonna talk about this one guy?
And unfortunately for this one guy, the people that he's beating up on, the Federer and the Diva Dolls, are much more fan-loved.
So he'll always continue to be like a crabby champion, but you know he's over that now. I mean, like you know what I mean? Until
Krabby Patty.
But you know, this is the sad thing, right?
So they can't sell it. They can't capitalize on his dominance.
They can't capitalize on his dominance the way they want to.
Exactly, they can't.
He's beating all the favorites.
I mean, remember we talked about this. You have a problem when Federer got schooled in the Wimbledon final, and everybody talk about that.
The second set.
Yeah. No,
you have a problem when you lose the U.S. Open final.
Exactly.
People talk about the set you won.
Exactly. That ain't right. I mean, like,
Who do you love, people? Who do you love?
But you know what? It's like what happened on the WTA side. Think about that. What is the match that they keep repeating on the WTA side from U.S. Open? Serena's lost. No other match gets repeated.
That is going to be the rain delay match for the next 15 years. Believe it.
I'm telling you who's happy because of that guy, Michael Krickstein, who lost. He's so happy for that. But you know what, ladies? Point of order now, ladies. We got rid of we talked ourselves blue with all the news. I hope you fans love it. But you know what? You know what they came here for, ladies? They came here
to hear our point of view on poor Genie.
Oh my God, Genie is in a bottle. She is in a bottle that's tight.
I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. You gotta rub me the right way.
I mean, like, you know what? We talked about this all the time. You know, just when you think tennis could give you no more news, no more shit, then some shit breaks out, and then we hear that Genie Bouchard is about to sue the USTA. And ladies, if you
she has
sued the USTA. She's put papers in.
No, the papers don't define an amount, right? It's to be negotiated.
I don't think they usually at this point they think they do that later. It didn't.
But we have a law person on the panel, so why don't we let her explain what's going on?
Okay, yes. I don't do U.S. law. I do common law, which is based on
English. But you know more than us.
English, but I've read the complaint in its entirety, and basically she's suing for negligence as a result of a sticky substance. Those were the words that were used. That was in the locker room. There was no. I've not seen any affidavit evidence that outlined exactly how it happened. I don't know how it works in U.S. court proceedings. The complaint that I saw basically explained everything that happened that night. I have not had a chance to speak with U.S. counsel.
That's how
I and I did invite her on the show tonight, but it's her birthday today. And she's like, Auntie Peach, really?
Go work on your go.
So I haven't had a chance to have U.S. counsel look at it, but from what I can see, she is basically claiming that as a result of the injuries that she suffered on the USTA property, she has suffered loss and damage to her tennis career in terms of endorsement deals, her loss in her ranking points loss, and it's ongoing. There's an end date in sight, and as a result, she wants damages, and she's asking for punitive damages, which is important because that means that whatever the court awards, that can be multiplied tenfold for her to cover her. As someone who has been in litigation for more years than I care to remember,
okay, to tell us the truth, but you know what?
it will be important for her to establish that there was no contributory negligence, i.e., that she did not take proper care, due care, in entering that room at that time.
I think that's going to be really key, Karen. I think that's what people are reacting to, the negative reaction we've seen.
Yeah. So
I think people are reacting to the notion that she participated in her fall.
Yeah. So, there is the issue of contributory negligence, and I don't know whether or not that's something that applies on the U.S. law. I know for us here in the Caribbean, it's something that happens in personal injury matters, and this is a personal injury case by any stretch of the imagination. As to the claims, I mean, you can't allege anything in a lawsuit. It's up for defense attorneys to put you to the test to prove that.
Right.
I think Ms. Bouchard will have a problem in proving that as a result of the injuries that she sustained in the locker room, her ranking has plummeted, because any defense lawyer worth his salt can only look at the fact that Ms. Bouchard has lost more matches than she has won this year, and this was long before the USTA incident.
And he just need to hire a good troll from the Twitter, and they will drag.
I want to ask a question. Let me ask a question here, because this is where I see it, and I have no law knowledge whatsoever. But looking at it from Genie's standpoint, okay, she's saying, because this happened to me, I'm losing money because I can't play. And yeah, she's lost more than she has won. However, don't you have to take into consideration that she was slated to play doubles and mixed doubles, which she didn't get to do. So she would have won money from that, and then that doesn't happen because she didn't get to play, right?
Right.
And also, future tournaments. Now, she might have lost in the first round of every single one, but if she can't even play, then yes, she's out of money. That, to me, it seems simple. I mean, it might be petty, but it seems simple to me. Is that wrong?
No, because that's not wrong. That's if you believe, basically she's saying that she would have won.
Would have won. I don't believe she would have won these.
No, I don't think. Well, what I'm asking is, does it even matter if she wins?
No, this is a player. No, but you have to look at past.
Yeah, you have to
look at past conduct. This is a player who has withdrawn from so many tournaments this year, and even the ones that she has played, she has lost in the first round.
But if she doesn't even get to enter a tournament,
but you're going on prediction.
But she's
you're going on prediction. Yeah.
But she's alleging that
she would have won it.
But for the fact that I got injured, I would have won singles, mixed doubles, and doubles at the US Open.
I don't.
No, that's not. But wait, that's not what I'm saying. But that I don't think is it though, really?
Yeah,
because
that's what she's alleging.
I'm seeing it as I couldn't even be given the opportunity to play because this happened, and therefore I'm losing money. Because it doesn't. When you go into a match, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. You still get some type of pay, even if you lose. But if you can't play, then you get nothing. That's where I'm coming from.
No, I understand your point. But the other point is this. This is a player who, for the last 6 months, has gone from more tournaments than she has played.
Yeah.
And for each tournament that she has played, she has lost first or second round.
But
yeah, I mean, you'd have a stronger case if it was like Serena who had fallen. You could legitimately say she was possibly going to be in the final, but it's up for
Right. I
discussion
see
about
that.
where
Right.
how
I mean, and I'm sure there's.
Genie
I
would have
don't see.
gone. Which is why I think this is headed to court, by the way, because I think that
Right.
Genie went in for the hard cash play, and the USTA was like, nah, bitch.
Well,
we're gonna take this one to
think,
court and see what's up with it.
oh, this definitely, because what I find surprising is people's reaction. Remember, I told we've had this conversation ever since this incident happened. I had always been quite taken aback at people's reaction. There was no sense of genuine sympathy to Genie's plight. I think everyone just
That's
sort
probably
of
because she has no friends on tour.
Well, that might be so, but I mean, I think we can all sympathize if someone.
No, you know when you don't get sympathy, you do not get sympathy when somebody believes that you participated in a downfall.
That was
the question people want to know is, what were you rolling around doing in a locker room in the dark, Genie?
At 11 o'clock at night.
Right. That's what I always got from every single player.
And that's what Stakhovsky basically hinted on his timeline. What were you doing, unable to walk
Exactly. And
he
that's
went
what
for her.
Pam Shriver
That
got out of her face and tweeted directly to Genie. Because every time the question
you know what? I have a problem with both tweets.
Well, I mean, yeah,
I have an issue with it for the simple reason that while we can sit here and speculate about the fact that what she would, maybe she had a legitimate reasoning there. Maybe she wanted to do a number one or a number two, and she needed to run to the locker room to get to, to get to the ladies' room. Maybe she left a piece of jewelry in there. Maybe she had a legitimate reason to be in the locker room. So I think it's a bit facetious for Sergei Stakhovsky to allege that Genie had no business being in the locker room. That's not his concern. I'm also concerned about Pam Shriver, who is, I'm assuming, a member of the USTA, basically tagging a litigant in legal proceedings in a social media atmosphere by saying that she should not have done that. She has a legal right to do so.
And accidents happen.
If she had an accident and she was injured, maybe the USTA is doing what the USTA does, playing tone deaf. And this is the only way to get them to sit at the table.
No, I don't think they're playing tone deaf. I think I think it's basically, to be honest, I think that one of the things that I think become very interesting and important is Genie's family's history and their litigious nature.
Well,
and
I think
that's going to become interesting. Is this a money grab, Genie? Did you have a bad year? Did you promise things to your sponsor that you didn't deliver? Are you going to use this as an opportunity to recover some of those losses with your sponsor's help? Because that's another claim.
Yes,
right?
Because what happened, I mean, I think I sent you ladies an article, and what the article basically says is that Genie's father basically, in essence, set up a sort of a corporation where Genie is the only thing involved in it, trying to write off.
Well, yeah, it's a clever way to handle your tax.
But then the Canadian government was just like, no.
Now, bro.
They say it can't be a corporation, a business, when you only got one client. You're not trying to get more people. So
put your siblings in there.
Exactly. And then one person left. We could have seen it with two people, but with just one person and it's your daughter, no, you owe us money. So that might be the issue. But however, I really don't. Whatever the nature of the court proceeding, etc., that should be the reason for her suing. That should be something that should be handled in court. And colleagues, I mean, I'm not so sure if colleagues should be. It's like, if we're going to let colleagues open them out and say shit on social media like this and talk about these things, then it's fair game for Nick Kyrgios to say who's fucking who on court.
Oh my God, stop. You know what? I mean, ultimately, though, I mean, Stacks just basically said, because, I do think it's interesting, though. I think it is interesting to talk about when things happen and what are the liabilities that are involved, because clearly things have happened on tournament sites all along, and it hasn't occurred to anyone to sue the site. So I think listen, this has happened. I mean, somebody, I think, who was it? Vika was working out in the weight room, accidentally slipped and hit her head, and she had to, I mean, and she took responsibility for slipping, but she could have easily said, I tripped over a bumpy part of the carpet and la la la. So I do think it is sort of interesting that I think maybe certain people, maybe certain players didn't even know that this was in their capacity to do, because we Americans do love to sue. I'm not saying that and I'm not saying we sue more than others, but it is an option that we have in our legal system, and it's probably something that Genie's quite familiar with. And so maybe this is a lesson to people who.
And oftentimes it's the only way to get something done.
Yeah, this is an international tour, and maybe people haven't realized this. So I'm wondering if we'll see other people pursue the suing in the future when things happen. I mean, things do happen on site. This is their work site. Lots of things can happen. People have had injuries on the court. You know, people have twisted an ankle. Like if you're playing on the court and you tripped over a dodgy part of the court, do you then have the right to sue? Because can you make
when we see rain,
do players assume the risk?
Yeah,
when they when they go to play.
I remember one of the last years Michael Chang played. He made a big stink. I think it was at the French Open where rain was coming and people the other person wanted to play, and he's just like, no, I'm not playing because the court can get slippery, the lines can get slippery, and I'm not playing. I get injured, I lose my match, I get pulled out, whatever the case is. So I mean, there is some issues there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
players,
what people
and I think this is why they take people off the court quickly too.
I think you'll see people doing it more. If it occurs to a player that if they trip, they're in their right to sue someone, even though they're both. You know what I mean? It's like
it's going to depend on whether or not she's successful.
Well, it's one of the reasons why the French Open. But you see, I think remember quite recently, things got problematic at the French Open for two reasons. Remember that thing fell and hit that guy in his head?
Yeah.
He can probably sue.
But but you know what? It's probably not something that's culturally not acceptable, but in cultural practice to do. I don't know what people do in other countries, but we do know in America, that's probably why we have the reputation. It might not even be true, but we know. Are you going to sue, girl? I mean...
I'm getting some money. My lawyer said I'm getting some money, girl. I get my check coming soon.
I mean, we have freaking accident commercials. We have commercials from lawyers telling you to sue and everything.
I'm telling you.
So it's a part of our cultural experience, but I don't know if necessarily that is something that is open to everyone.
Right. People don't understand how this works. And to be quite honest with you, in all fairness, I mean, I do not know. I mean, I've heard quite different stories. What I'm reading from Genie's litigation paperwork is not what I initially heard coming out
I know,
of
that's
USTA.
true.
So it's quite different.
Or the press conference. That's not.
Or the press conferences, etc. Because
a little bit
I
new.
believe what was said in the paper was that there was another person present. There was an attendant present in the court paper. So that might be an issue.
And there were lights off in the original story. It was dark. It was dark, and it was slippery water. Now there's a claim that there was some actual fluid on the ground.
Foreign fluid.
And it's sticky?
Exactly.
Typically, you slip and fall on slippery stuff, not sticky stuff.
Janina, it's a Sunday. We're going to try to keep a Christian podcast. Keep your dirty mind.
Listen, dirty!
Point them out of here.
You nasty bastard.
Look.
Thank you, Karen.
Look, point of order. But I have to say that, I mean, I do know that in a lot of cases, particularly in the American establishment, you can tell management something to fix something, but nothing gets done until someone trips over and dies. You know what I mean? It's like we won't, and it's like we see it's not comparable in the nature, but in terms of like gun laws in America, how many more people have to die before something happened? Government in New York City in particular, Mayor Bloomberg literally had to sue the gun manufacturers from outside of the city.
Where is this coming from? What is this about?
I'm just simply saying that in order to get certain things done.
Genie's not trying to get anything done. She hasn't pointed anything out in her lawsuit about protecting other players or anything.
Right, but she's protecting herself, right? Because clearly
but that's the only thing, though. There's nothing in the law. She could make those claims. She could make claims about other people.
Why should she? Because everybody else. I'm telling you, no one has expressed any genuine sympathy. No, so there's a lot more to this story than I.
He has no friends. How many times do I have to tell you that?
So I don't know. I'm just simply saying, I'm not a big fan. I'm just simply saying that for me, it's like I want to see how this coach.
Let me tell you the cynical view. The cynical view is that everybody thinks Jamie that she's worried. Excuse me, that she's worried about whether she can make some money for the next couple of years, especially now that she doesn't have Stacy supporting her and propping her up. That she's worried about her ability to bring in money. This lawsuit will allow her to recoup some cash. That's the cynical response. I'm not saying it's truthful. I'm just saying that's the cynical response.
You know what, girl?
Well,
make it how you can. You ain't get
on that note, out of nowhere today, I just tweeted out, tell me your top 6.
Right.
Men and women.
I think people may have misunderstood the top 6. I just gotta say.
Just because you don't agree with their top 6 doesn't mean they misunderstood.
Well, but let's always define it. Whenever you see us tweet out or say our top 6, at some point in the past, in March, we decided who our top 6 hot ATPers were and hot WTAers are.
I think we did that in June. We did the ladies in June.
Yeah, so there are hot. Those are people we'd like to date if we were dating both sides. If we were
hang with, in my case, for the ladies.
Or hang with. Or we could pretend we're bisexuals. We're all bisexuals here, and these are our 2.
Ain't that dream, okay? And sometimes we're all about the money, people. We're all about the money. Because...
Okay, somebody needs to tell me when it's 21 days. Remind me when it's 21 days so that I can go back and check Pacer for the USTA's response.
Oh, good. So
they have 21 days from the date of filing.
Okay, so when is the date of filing? Please.
The 15th of October.
The 15th of October. So this is perfect. So by the end of November.
Right. Oh, yes. 21 days?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, that would be it. By the end of November, we should know the USTA's response. So please, somebody remind us and tweet Bridge P. Tweet at Bridge P and say, remember, go check out the USTA's response.
Right. and if it is, believe me, I will ensure that it is formatted on each of our blogs so that everybody can read it, because this is what the Realz Tennis Fans podcast is
all about. All right.
Information so that
we're going to give you the goods.
We can give you the goods so that you can interpret it as you wish, because that's what tennis fans do.
I'd always
all right.
Go with your top 6, Janina. Tell us what people's top 6 are.
Okay, so Daniel, Mr. Prodigy 555.
Oh, Daniel, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I want to
Daniel, you know what, Daniel? Shut the fuck up. That's all. Okay, his top 5. Number 1, Serena. Yes. Number 2, Serena. Number 3, Serena. Number 4, Venus. Number 5, Serena.
Oh my God.
Serena.
Oh.
Daniel wouldn't give me a top 5 or 6 for the men.
Really?
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, come on, dude. We all know better.
Girl.
We're calling you out.
No, totally.
Boy. Okay.
If you don't want your boo to find out,
I'm convinced Roger Federer is in love with Michael Jordan.
Oh, he is!
Of course he is. He totally admits it.
Look. Y'all know Federer love the chocolate.
No, that's his childhood. That's like his childhood.
His childhood idol.
Hold up. Point of order, y'all know Federer loved the chocolate. He had Tiger, he had Thierry, now we got Michael.
Can I tell you honestly though, that's probably why Federer went to Shanghai, was to go meet
Oh my God.
He went,
Federer
got a picture with him.
No issues. Federer just like Merca, girl, I'll be back in 2 days.
Wait. Do you remember? It's like that time when Nole went to Paris, put on a mask. Remember that match? Lost and then left the very next day. So weird.
Oh God.
So that was Federer. Federer went, hung out with Michael Jordan, lost the match, and went home.
Exactly, Merca, I'll be back in 2 days. Kids, don't worry. Dev, we're preparing for London. Don't worry. Paris and London.
What else? Who else?
Okay, who else?
Justin.
Okay.
Who is at Justin LFC, Justin with a Y.
Mm-hmm.
He did ask for clarification, so thank you, because he wanted to know, 6 each? Yes, Justin. Favorites or rankings? Faves, as in hot, looking. He says, oh, this totally changes everything.
Always.
So, he's indecisive, to say the least. He gives me Caro, Ivanovic, Maria, Keys, Genie, Lisicki. Honorable mentions for, I don't even know who this is, Karina Withoft?
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
no,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's German, right? She's German.
Yes,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Heather
Okay,
Watson
yeah.
and Sloane Stevens booty.
Oh my God.
Right?
Who's this?
Then he says, on second thought, take Genie out and just put Heather Watson on my list.
Oh Lord.
You don't want some of that Genie money? I'm telling you.
He's not all about the lawsuit, right?
Oh, wow. So
On the men's.
Pikachu chimed in at Pikachu.
Yeah.
We love her. She says in no particular order, although Fed is always number 1 to me. Roger. Dustin Brown, we share a person.
Yep.
Songa, share with you.
Yes. Always.
Daniel Brands.
Ooh, she's got.
Girl, she's trying to go for my scrub.
Right? Balali and
Ooh.
Delpo.
Wow.
And for the ladies, she chose V, Sabatini, Sibukova, Flavia Kirilenko, and what's her name? George's, but it's not said like that, is it?
Julia.
Julia. She's
Gorgeous.
pretty. Yeah, she's pretty.
Hey, wait up. So Maria Kirilenko is fully retired, right? She's just
Yeah,
like
she's
done.
have a baby.
Is she?
Yeah. She's
No,
not
she
coming
didn't
back.
have a baby,
Maybe
didn't
she's
she?
gonna pull a Kleister, I guess.
She has a baby.
Yeah.
She has a big chubby baby. I saw
Who had a baby?
Kirilenko.
Kirilenko.
Oh yeah. No, she's not coming back. She's
Yeah.
done.
She's done,
done.
right? I like
She's
these
done
people.
for a
while,
They-
right?
They don't even have a party to leave. They just go bye.
Oh my God.
You're a party for winches, okay?
Oh,
Unless
man.
you have to
Okay.
dement here. You have to be able to dement. Natalia Akulari, at Akulari, I may have
Yeah,
said it wrong.
Akularia. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she picked for the men. She has a very wide mix for the men. She picked
Mhm.
all the styles, I would say. Hopefully she's talking about hotness and not like, favorite player ever. She picked Federer, Nadal, Del Potro, Ferrer, Tommy Haas, and
Mm.
Tsonga. She got none of these men are particularly they're like the other. So you know what, girl?
One of these
It's all
two are
about
not like the
variety.
other. I love it.
Variety is the spice of life.
She had a little harem going on here, variety.
I love
For the
it.
women, I mean, I had to side eye, one or two of these
Leave her.
choices. I mean, Sveta, and I gotta say, I saw a picture of Sveta today. Oh my god.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, if I had seen this picture, Sveta would have been like Danny. Should have been my number 1, my number 2, my number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6.
Better
Garbine,
dresses up, though.
Flavia, I
Yeah.
think Natalia's going for that US Open money, trying to spend it before Fabio does. Roberta Vinci, I'm confused here. I am
Interesting.
really confused here.
Oh,
Baby-
really? I shared a really good picture of Roberta Vinci with you, Karen. I don't know if you saw
A
that.
baby picture, I'm sure it had.
No.
Which one?
She was
Oh,
done.
you did
She
not
was
say
done up to the nines and a cover.
Oh
and a
yeah, you
jean.
mean
She
the
was very nice. I've never seen Vinci look that good. I mean,
She
was-
looked and
she? Oh yeah.
You
she
remember
had
Well, you know what?
Federer?
I'm still, I'm with Serena. I'm still having a broken heart. So there you go.
You can't look at her that way.
trust me, I don't care about
You
Roberta
know,
Vinci beating Serena. Roberta Vinci always looked like somebody's grandmother.
I know. I didn't
She
realize
looks
she looked.
old.
In that picture, she looked great. So we're gonna go there. All right.
And Natalia picked Venus and Carla.
Mm.
Venus, I can see Carla.
Carla. I need some explanation on that one. She wears pantyhose.
Oh my god. The pantyhose. Does no one wear pantyhose anymore?
No,
No,
I
I
do.
wear pantyhose.
Pantyhose is
I
trouble.
do.
You wear pantyhose to
Because
work in
she's a
church, Karen.
Caribbean.
Not
I even wear pantyhose to go out if I'm wearing a
She's
mini.
a Caribbean.
Karen, cut the shit. Don't tell anybody else that ever.
I do. If I'm wearing like those meshy stockings that
Yeah. Oh,
those black
fine.
stockings. Yeah.
Ooh. No, you know what, Karen? American girls don't wear stockings.
Yeah, my
stockings.
my niece still wears stockings.
Easy access. I'm just saying.
Oh, cut
Oh
the
my
shit.
God.
Okay, so at
Okay, Cardell,
Biography-
please
go
stay
ahead,
in your lane. First my boobs, now you're talking about easy access. Right now with you.
and he says he likes men.
Yeah, don't be shocking,
You know what he likes? He likes Karen.
girl.
God,
You
we
can't
missed
handle
you,
this.
Karen.
You
all
cannot
right.
handle this, cause
Oh, so anyways,
Okay.
at biographer 1986 chimed in
good lord.
with a lovely gift that says "Bring it," and she chose Serena v. Svetlana Taylor. Is this Taylor Townsend?
Oh wow, that's so cute.
Halep, Garbine, and for the men she chose Stan, Roger, Nick, Kyrgios. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Monfils,
Oh yes, baby.
Jerzy Janowicz, Crazy Boy, and Gooblis.
Listen, we can have a threesome all the way. You know
what? I'm tired of Svetlana. What? Yes, Ernest Gooblis. Lots of people think he's cute.
I have seen his teeth up close and no, God, I'm getting nightmares. I am getting nightmares.
I just want to tell all y'all I ain't sharing Svetlana, so back off. And Tennis Addict 72 chose JJ, Crazy JJ, Venus. I don't know how to say her name. Medanovic? Yes, her.
She's
she has that gap between her teeth. Ooh.
Does she?
She's very sexy. She's very sexy.
Puke, Sibylkova, and Lisicki and Mirza.
Aww.
For the men, Burditch. I mean, because who doesn't love them fucking legs, right? Another Goobless lover. So back off, Reels. Pierre, Chardet, and Monaco. And the doubles player. Ooh, I don't know how to say this either. I suck at names. Teku?
Teku. Oh, yes.
Teku. Yeah, he's Romanian.
I don't know who that is. I don't even know.
He played mixed doubles with Simona this year at the US Open.
Yeah.
Okay.
Horia, I think his name is pronounced?
Yeah, Horia. Yes. Horia Teku.
Well, I want to thank everybody for chiming in.
Thank you.
Again, back off, Svetlana. James.
God, she's very popular, by the way.
She is.
More popular than you think she would be.
You know what? Venus is too.
Well,
James from the Body Serve chimed in, but we're not giving his top 6 because eventually we're going to have them on and they can give it live. And
cool.
So we're not slighting you, James. We're not.
Yes.
We'll talk to you later.
I slight you, James. Apparently.
All right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We've not been on for last week, but we should be on next week when we be.
Ooh, rolling up to the WTA finals.
Exactly.
Hey.
And also prepping for Paris and then prepping for London. So we'll be back. It might be a little extra long this week, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, get to tweet us individually, text us, send a pigeon, whatever you can, get to us. Comment below.
Don't text me.
I mean, write a text on the comment page.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
All right.
Ciao. Ladies. Ciao. Take a again. Good night, Karen. Back again next week.